Hello friends, welcome to my channel Sushant. Today we are at the next topic, that is demolition of pawn cover. We are going to look at yet another example where we are going to attack the castled king, and let us try to understand what's happening in the position. It was white to play here. We see that black has coordinated his pieces very well. The d6 bishop is eyeing h2, rook is ready to get transferred to h5. This bishop is right now covering a square which is required for the knight on g4. So maybe there is going to be the move b2 followed by ng4 when we see the d8 queen would transfer to the king side. White on the other hand has more forces on the queen side. On the defensive side he is not doing much. So the candidate moves which white thought over here, see, firstly he was willing to go bg4, but then he saw that after bg4 ng4, because this rook is already placed right now, so if he goes with the move h3, this looks like knight will retreat and maybe he will get enough time to transfer this knight to e2, bishop comes to c3. Defensive chances are decent. But here black turns things with the move knight f2. After king f2, see, black's whole tactic is based on the point that there are no defenders near the white king, which we have been discussing, the indicators of attack or the pointers of attack, which we discussed all the time. The assault ratio after the move queen h4 suddenly becomes highly in black's favor. 3 attackers is to no defender over the king. After kg1, there comes rook g5. Things have become started very difficult here. See, rook eyes g2, queen h3 is a threat. Moves like e4 cannot work here because this bishop is eyeing the c5 square. We can see some variation like queen h3, bg5, bc5 check, which might turn the game instantly. Or there could be the move bishop c5 check directly, which is perhaps even stronger. King h2 loses to qg3. After king h1 there is rg3. The threat of rh3 is almost impossible to stop. So this is game over. White was not happy with the move bg4. If he just wants to go back with any move like b1, you can understand it's not an appealing decision. Simply we hand over the initiative to black. Maybe black can just go rook h5 or move this bishop to e6 and transfer knight to g4. In both cases he will have some good play over there, and white's position is passive as well. So he thought of going with the move h3. See, point is very simple. Now bishop takes c2, knight takes c2. We see that instantly there is no sacrifice. Knight is not heading to g4. Any move like knight e4 can temporarily be met by perhaps bishop c3. And after rook g5, white can even consider the move knight f4. Because the point is, this queen has not yet managed to transfer to h4. That is the main idea. If the queen would already be on h4, we would say that black would be definitely better. What black realized here, that the bishop on e2 is very oddly placed and it is always coming in the path of white's defense. So here he thought of this move bh3, see, which is mostly it doesn't work, because after gh3 we need queen into h3 instantly. We need 2 pawns for the piece and the attack then plays by itself. But here after g takes h3, it's very difficult to understand or anticipate what is going to come. Here black had seen the very strong qd7. This move qd7, like we had done one game before where white had played bishop h6, gh had played queen d2. Similar lines, this is, the queen is heading to h3. See, white has very few defenses. One move is bishop f1, which happens to be the main game. We'll come to that. Black has seen the main defense f4. The rook is attacked, the square g5 is controlled. But here too, after the move queen h3, let's look at this analysis. It's really fascinating one, and such analysis are the key points which we generally miss in an attack. We see the main game, what happened in the game. But I have seen in many cases, key points are hidden in the analysis. Like it is here, after f takes e5, bishop takes e5, there are some pretty variations. Now the first threat, we know the mating pattern. Let's say any move like b1 would allow bishop h2 check. If king f2, then qg3, kf1, qg1 mates. And otherwise if kf1, then bg3, kg1, queen h2, kf1 and queen h1 mate. These are typical patterns with bishop and queen. Only difference is the move bishop f3. The bishop comes in the path here and now black has to take queen f3. We can note that the same line previous one is not going to work because king gets placed on e2. So queen takes f3. Again now the queen is ready to go to g4, or even the move knight g4 is there. So b1 forced and here comes knight g4, forcing white to do rook d2. That is the only way to guard h2, but here comes knight e3. I must also tell you that in this position the move qg4, king f1, queen h3 should also win. Then the knight would join from g4. This line is perhaps more forced. Knight takes e3. Now the threat is mate on f1. Look at the bishop's condition. If bishop f2, then queen g2 mates. Bishop h4 just allows qg4. So rook f2. Now comes qg4 check, forcing the line. King h1, queen h3 check, king g1, nicely using the theme of overloading. Now comes bishop h2 check. Game over. If rook takes h2, then queen f1 mates. So king g1 forced, bishop g3 check, kg1, bishop takes f2, king takes f2, and here black can win in several ways. There is the very strong knight g4, k, e2 and maybe rook d8, but there is even stronger rook e8, cutting off the file of escape, and now knight g4 would mate in a few moves. So this analysis, I would say, is one of the most important ones, as much as like the game position is. Let's go back to the game now. White goes with the move bishop f1, controlling or supporting the pawn on h3. Of course, black goes rook g5 check. Moves are now very much forced. King h1, bg2 just loses to queen h3. Queen c6 check, forcing e4. Knight takes e4. Now there is the threat of double check, knight f2 mate. So knight takes e4, queen takes e4, f3. Now comes the move queen e5. Another very useful waiting move, exploiting the weakness on h2. Again forcing f4, and now comes again queen e4. This time the square h2 is available to the white king. White is seemingly just holding the game by thread, but it's very easy to see how the game would unfold from here. Of course, it's a forced win. So bishop f4 check, bishop takes f4 forced, queen f4 check, and we see the true finishing point after the move king h1, that is queen f2. See, these kind of waiting moves are trademark of a forceful attack. Okay, this I have been discussing in most of my lessons. Every alternate day we come across this theme. Everything is forced and suddenly a waiting move is there. Now see the pattern. Bishop cannot go away because mate on g2. If bishop doesn't move, there is no way to guard rook g1 on or the move qg1. So white had to resign over here. So this topic of demolition of pawn cover plays a major role in concluding the winning attack. I hope you are finding these lessons useful and instructive. Do let me know in the comments below. Thanks for your time.